So, um, I'm doing a special live right now. Uh, I want to talk about racism, which was a topic that I was never planning or intending to talk about because it's one of those topics that I don't feel comfortable talking about. But I don't know, something inspired me today to talk about it because I feel like I just don't know what the solution to the problem is. And that's what's most scary because unfortunately, when I'm talking about racism, I'm also talking about racism towards white people, not just racism towards other people. It's a two-way street. And this is what's keeping the racism cycle going. It's a cycle. It really is. Because it's not like that. Most of the time, there are sick white people, there are sick other people. But most of the time, what it is that it's like two groups fighting constantly. It's like the white group and then the other group, right? And I have been discriminated against for being white. So explain to me why that's okay. Explain to me why they are allowed to discriminate against me, not only for being white, but for being white and gay. They have discriminated against me. They have robbed me. They have set out to attack me based on the fact that I'm white and gay. Now, I get it that these people, they don't like, maybe they experience racism, but it works both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So I was one time with an Uber driver, and I'm from Canada, and is changing. Canada is completely changing now. Canada used to be like this very white country, and but the thing was though with Canada, even though it was a white country, we did not have racism. I'll tell you why. Because we had there were black people, but they were a minority, and they were just treated like everyday people. They were Bob and Sue and Bill and Jill. That's how we viewed these people. But now they have become forming a group. Before they were like every here and there, it was just normal. Every so often, every workplace here or there, maybe there would be one or two black people. They were Bob, they were Jill, they were Sammy Sue, whatever. But now the black people, they have formed a gang in Canada. And for the first time in a while, we are now starting to see what I experienced in the United States in Canada. Because when I went from Canada to the United States, I was in an Uber driver. There was an Uber driver. And he said to me, I just want to warn you, he said to me, because I'm from Canada. He knew I was from Canada. I was a tourist. I was doing doing business in America. And he warned me about something. He said, I just want to warn you about something. He said, black people and white people over here, they do not mingle usually, and it's like more they're separated. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? I thought he was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? This was about 2018. Really? Well, no, it was, okay. Well, anyways, it was about 8 years ago, approximately. I said, really? And like this day and age, there's still segregation? He said, yeah. He said, they don't, you best not go around them. I couldn't even believe it because in Canada, there's no gangs. It's no like it's black side versus the white side. In Canada, like when we have black people in the workplace, it's like that's Bob, that's Sue, that's Mary. They're just everyday people. So when I went from Canada to the United States, I was blasted with this whole thing. And then I experienced it because I went to a casino and like my grandmother had died. I had like so much stuff had happened to me in life. I've been bullied all my life, and I really needed like a vacation. And there's a very good reason actually why I went to a black run casino because I had been bullied mostly by white people. And I'm gay and I've been bullied mostly by white people. So I was actually going to a black casino expecting the black people who always complain about racism, who always claim to be of a higher standard. I was expecting to be safe at a casino run by black people. I was not expecting to be called white boy and cracker. I was not expecting to then watch me while I play. And then I'm not expecting that when I actually won something, because I was down actually most money, but when I actually won something, like maybe my little vacation was turning around. When I actually won something, one of them thought it was funny to put a bag over my head, and while I'm like struggling with the bag over my head, the other one cashes out my machine and run, and they all run and they're laughing their asses off. And then they say, and then what? And with this, the black security guard behind me says, "Ha ha, ha, white boy." I'm at a slot machine. I actually win some of my money back, and I couldn't actually even see for sure exactly how much I won. It might even be more than just my money back. It might have been even a lot more. But the machine actually won. And I'm like, oh, great. Maybe I won at least some of my money back. And then the next thing you know, a bag goes over my head. One of the thugs puts a bag over my head. And then I'm like struggling in shock. And the other one cashes out my machine while the bag's over my head. And then they run out of the casino. And I turn around, I turn back to the black security guards who saw the whole thing. And they literally just laughing. And one of them says, ha ha, white boy. Ha ha, white boy to me. So I was, as a white gay Canadian from Canada who desperately needed a vacation because I was bullied my whole life by white people, right? I'm a homosexual and I was bullied my whole life by white people. I went to the black casino thinking I would be safe. I was actually expecting the black people like Obama and all of these people in America who say about racism, and I was expecting these people to treat me with dignity and respect. And I experienced anti-white racism from these people at a casino where they have security, where they're supposed to be, they have cameras. And so I guess what's the most scary thing is I don't know what the solution is. Because right now, the Uber driver that told me that, it's pretty much segregation and that's the way it is and you should just follow by it. And then I come from Canada where we have black people like here and there, and we have to treat them like that's Bob, that's Sue, that's Bill. We can't segregate. We don't just, there's not even enough people to segregate. In Canada, if there was segregation between black and white, it'd be like 90% white and 10% black. There'd be like five black guys in the corner. Like, so it's not even like we have enough people to segregate anyways. So that's why when we have black people in the workplace, we don't even notice that they're black. They just come in and that's Bob, that's Sue, that's Bill. And they walk into our conversation like they're just one everyday people. So when the Uber driver was telling me, oh, just so you know, because you're from Canada and you don't know the thing, what's going on in the state, he said, this is a segregated state. He said, so you best just stay away from them. And I couldn't even believe it. And I'm like, well, my Canadian culture, that's actually not allowed in my Canadian culture. We can't just say to Sabrina, because I don't look at the person like they're black or white. I look at them like, oh, that's Sabrina, that's Jill, that's Mary. That's how I look at people. So the Uber driver was right. Because I went to the black casino and I couldn't believe how I was mistreated. And that was just one incident. There were many incidents. I was in shock for the first three, four incidents. And then I finally would never go back there. But at first I was like in total shock. Then I was like, I tried actually complaining to the casino itself, realizing how corrupt the casino was. Oh, gee, a casino being corrupt. Yeah. No, but seriously, like very badly corrupt. It's one thing to just not win and lose your money. It's another thing to actually win, and then someone puts a bag over your head. One of the thugs puts a bag over your head, and then the other thug cashes out your machine and they run off laughing. And then they call you haha white boy. And the security, I turn back to the black security expecting them to do something, and they just laugh at me at a black run casino. Which I didn't even have to go there. Like I went there, was spending my money, and this is the way I'm treated. And I had bothered no one. And I filed a complaint, and I never had bothered anyone. And I filed a complaint, and I never bothered anyone. And then I went there other times, and you should have seen the way they treated me. I was sitting at a cafeteria in the casino, sitting down to eat food. The lady comes over while my food is on the table, and she starts spraying my table with a spray bottle. I'm like, you're contaminating my food. What are you doing? Like, I couldn't even believe it. And she was like, had this smirk on her face. And she was a sister. And I'm like, obviously, like you don't spray a table when there's food on it when people are eating. The table wasn't even dirty. I actually sat down at a clean table and I was eating my meal from the cafeteria at the food court in the casino. I was eating my meal, and she comes over and she starts spraying my table that I'm sitting at, and like I could actually feel the mist from the spray and from the spray bottle, and then she's acting as if my table was dirty, and my table wasn't dirty. I wouldn't have sat down on a dirty table. The table was clean. I sat down with my food, was eating it. This is harassment. She comes over and sprays my freaking table. I call the manager. The manager finally comes over 5, 10 minutes later and says, "Oh, that's just our policy. We're just constantly, keeping the tables clean." I don't have a problem with you keeping the tables clean. I have a problem when I'm actually sitting at a table that's already clean and she comes over and starts spraying me with a spray bottle. That's what I have the problem with. So I learned finally, eventually, that yeah, the best thing to do is just stay away from these people. I will not go someplace, pay good money, sit there, and then be harassed and be sprayed with a spray bottle. And then they act as if, oh, they're just cleaning. No, no, you don't spray customers with a spray bottle. You don't spray a table where people are sitting down and eating. No, like I work tables. I used to be a waiter. I used to be a bus guy. I used to bus tables. That is a no-no. There were things you do not do. And then the other thing I saw them doing, which was very gross, is not only were they not wearing hairnets, but one time the lady was pulling out her weave. She's literally and she's like mixing up the rice, mixing up the stuff. It was like a Chinese, so they had it was a food court, but then they also had like a Chinese section, an Asian section, right? And the lady, she's behind the counter where they like serving the rice and the noodles and the egg rolls and everything. And she pulls out her weave and she's like fixing her weave and takes off her weave like behind the counter. I'm like, that's a big no-no. But anyways, I didn't even care. I was hungry. I didn't even care. I didn't even say anything about that. I mean, I didn't even care about say anything about that. I could have said something about that. I didn't even say anything about that because I was just, I will. But when I got sprayed with the spray bottle, you better believe I said something. How much abuse can someone take? So, and who knows if they had chemical in the spray bottle? That is the most vile, disgusting thing to be sprayed with a spray bottle. And then they act as if they're just cleaning. You don't spray customers with a spray bottle. I didn't see them spray. I didn't see her spray any brothers or sisters with the spray bottle. No, they just spray the gay white guy with a spray bottle. So I don't know. Like what really hurt me too is how what a nice person I was and what a naive I was, and how I went there and I didn't even have to go there, and I was bringing my money, my business to them. I was expecting a black casino to be run professionally. I was expecting these people to be professionals. Not to that when I actually win some of my money back, then I'm standing there like happy, and then the next thing you know, a bag goes over my head, and one of the thugs has a bag over my head while the other one catches out my slot machine and they run off. And they are laughing their asses off. And I turn back behind me, seeing the black security guards, like, are you gonna do something? And the black security guard, she's just laughing at me. And she says, haha, white boy. and calls me a white boy. And then just the black security would just look at me and laugh. And they watched the whole thing went down. I couldn't even believe it. So what's most scary about this is that the only person who has offered a solution, which actually is the only thing that works at this point, is the Uber driver that told me that I thought he was crazy. I didn't agree with him. I was like, no, Canada, we don't have segregation in Canada. You know, if we have a black person in the white, if we have someone in our workplace, they have to be treated like that's Bob, that's Sue, that's Jill, that's Mary. Like, we don't have segregation in Canada. So when he's telling me to avoid the black casinos, he's telling me, oh, avoid black neighborhoods, don't go here, don't go there. And at first I'm like, well, that's against my Canadian culture because we don't have segregation in Canada, at least not yet. Now we're starting to get it. Because in Canada, there was no gangs. It was just like we had every so often we had a black person in our workplace, and we didn't even notice they were black. We just that's Mary, that's Sue, that's Jim, that's Bob. Like they just come over, talk with us, they work with us in a team. There was literally no even we actually forget that these people are black or white. But then I go to the States from Canada, and the Uber driver's warning me, and I should have listened to him. He warned me. He said, "This state is heavily segregated." He said, "So, like you're from Canada, maybe you don't know, but you shouldn't go to the black casinos. You shouldn't go to here. You shouldn't go." I'm like, "What?" I actually thought he was crazy. I actually disagreed with him. I couldn't handle what he was saying to me. I was offended what he was saying to me. And then, sure enough, I went to the black casinos. I went to the black events. I went to the black games, the black parties, and I was beaten and spit on, called gay white boy. They called me white boy. They call me the F word. You know what I mean? And first off, by the way, let me just say, I do not walk around with no, like, I don't wear pink. I don't wear none of those girly colors. I dress in black. I literally dress in black. And I do not. I literally have a beard. I do not dress like, like, and I do not announce and even confirm that I'm gay, but my voice, I've always been self-conscious about my voice. This is just the way I talk. And people have said, "Oh, you sound zesty. You sound zesty." They pick it up in my voice. You sound zesty. This is just the way I talk. I've been always insecure about my voice. I don't know how to make my voice sound deeper or more masculine. This is just the way I talk. So this is how people pick up on it. But I don't walk into black casinos yelling, "I'm a homosexual." No, I never did that. And sometimes people want to make it look like as if I did that. I never did that. I'm not crazy and stupid. I'm not going to run into a casino and yell, "I'm a homosexual." In fact, I'm more scared of the Christians and I'm more scared of the deeply religious people than I was scared of the black people, honestly. I was actually expecting black people to appreciate diversity. Since the black people are always preaching diversity, oh, at least Obama was preaching diversity. I was expecting when I went to the United States that the black people would be more accepting to a gay homosexual white man than the actual Christians from Texas. I was like, let's see, am I gonna go to a black casino in America, or am I gonna go to Texas where they have Christians in Texas? Who would a gay white man from Canada, which group he be more scared of? Would he be more scared of the black casino or the black people, or would he be more scared of the Texans, the deeply religious Texans that believe that maybe gay people are going to hell, etc.? So I actually was going to the black casino expecting to be safe, that these people appreciate diversity, that respect diversity because they preach diversity. But no, instead, I was like the gay white guy that they thought it was funny. And from Canada, they thought it was funny to rob me, spit on me, punch me, spray a spray bottle on me. Like it was a big joke to them. They keep one time the girl kept hitting my chair, trying to distract me. Like the casino was empty except for me because I went one time in the afternoon when it wasn't busy at all because I didn't want to be harassed and I just was just trying to enjoy my little vacation. And then the girl, she comes over, the whole casino's empty, and she's coming over and she keeps knocking my chair, bumping into my chair on purpose. I was like, okay. I could have gone to Disneyland, and I didn't go to Disneyland. I don't like Disneyland. I'll never go to Disneyland. But I'm just saying, I could have gone golfing. I could have gone surfing. I could have gone rock climbing. Well, I probably won't go rock. I could have gone skydiving. Well, I probably won't jump out of a clear. But I didn't have to go there. So these people, they should be grateful that they get customers. And now I know why that specific casino was sometimes very empty. It was only busy on the weekends. The weekends it was packed. Saturday, Sunday it was packed. And I tried both going when it was packed to see if I would be treated better. And I tried both also going when it wasn't busy at all during the week. This was over the course of 2 months because I had rented for July and August. I rented a summer villa in the States. I rented a summer villa in the States with the intention to go back to Canada after the 2 months. So in the 2 month period, just so you know, within a 2 month period in the United States during the summertime, I was I went to the casino 8 times. I went once a week, and I brought a budget of $100. So I went once a week. No, twice a week. I went twice a week because I just went once on a Thursday and I went once on the weekend, and that was it. Once on a Thursday, once on the weekend. That was my schedule because then I also had work and I was doing a part-time job. I was doing something else. So I went twice. So it was 8 times actually. So it was 8 times. Yeah. It wasn't 10 times. It was 8 times. It was 8 times because I went, right. Now I remember. So within those 8 times, I was sprayed with a spray bottle. I was harassed. They put a bag over my head when I won just some of my money back, and then they ran out laughing, and the other one cashed out my machine. There was another incident too, which was very sketchy, which now I think they also cashed out my machine. So there was another incident where I was playing and I didn't really win anything big, and at least I didn't think so. My machine just starts like going off. The lady comes over and she starts screaming. She starts screaming at me because my machine went off. And she says, "Sir, your machine is loud. It's so freaking loud. Okay. I'm over here on the phone. I'm on the phone trying to have a conversation, and your slot machine is so loud, sir. Okay." And she's screaming at me that my slot machine was loud. I'm like, it's a casino. The whole place is loud. And my slot machine is just getting louder because it won something. And she literally comes over. She looks like she was about to smack me. She's like, "Your slot machine's so loud." She's screaming at me. I go to turn back. I said, "Look," I said, "I can't help if the machine is loud." I go back to look back at my machine because I was distracted talking to her. I go back to look at my machine, and I went to go cash out because I'm like, I'm getting out of here. This girl's screaming at me. She looks like she's gonna slap me. I'm getting out of here. I went to go cash out my machine. There was no money in it, and I had money in it, and I had just won something. I had money in my machine. I had just won something. This lady comes over, starts screaming at me, "Sir, your machine's loud. I was on a phone call, and you were disturbing my phone call, and your machine's loud, sir." And she was yelling at me, and I was like looking at her. Listen, I can't control how loud the machine gets. Like it got louder because I won something. And then I go but to look back at my machine because I was distracted for like 30 seconds talking to her. I thought she was gonna slap me. She was so mad that the machine was loud because it was, it's a slot machine. It's a freaking casino. The whole place is loud. And then I go back to look at my machine, and I notice I went to go cash out because I wanted to get out of there because I'm like, I'm getting the hell out of here. This woman almost slapped me like and was yelling at me. I went to go cash out my machine. There was nothing in it. Someone must have cashed out my machine. So while I was distracted, while this lady came over, she did the whole thing on purpose to distract me. She saw that my machine won something. The machine started to get a little bit loud because that's what machines do when they win something. She runs over and she says, "Sir, I was on the phone, and your machine was loud. Your machine's loud and you're disturbing me, sir." And she wasn't even playing at a slot machine. And then I said, "Look, like, listen, lady, no, I can't control how loud the machine is." I go to turn back at the slot machine, and then the next thing you know, I go to cash out because I'm like, I'm getting out of here. There's no money. I can't cash out anything. I can't. Someone already cashed out my thing. So, and then you know what really irked me? You know what really pissed me off about this whole thing is that they probably do this to elderly people. And that's what really pissed me off. I actually went livid because I could just imagine like my grandmother, my grandmother's friends, and my grandmother died of cancer, and my grandmother would sometimes go to the casino as a release, right? And I could just imagine my grandmother in there and these freaking thugs going and cashing out my grandmother's machine, distracting her, offering her a drink, maybe walking around being like, "Oh, from the drink bar, would you like or offer or asking her for a cigarette or something or whatever." Somehow distracting her, maybe asking her, maybe they ask her for money. Can I have $2? Can I have $2? Like someone did one to me one time. Can I have $2? So it really, I'm a man, but it pissed me off to my core to just think that these people, they probably have scams going on, which they do. There was a group of them. They work in teams. One of them distracts you, the other one cashes out your machine. One of them distracts you, the other one cashes out your machine. They work in teams. So 7 out of the 8 incidents were brothers and sisters, but one of the incidents was white guys. So one of the incidents was white guys. So they also have teams of white people that do it too. 7 out of the 8, however, incidents were all brothers and sisters. And I was actually expecting the brothers and sisters to appreciate diversity, to respect diversity. They're always preaching diversity. So I figured they would be accepting to a gay white man from Canada and especially more accepting than Texas. I was just scared to go to Texas. Like Texas, especially from Canada, like most Canadians, we've never seen a gun. We've never seen a gun before. So that's another reason. And alligators. I'm scared of alligators. I'm scared of guns. So I'm like, okay, am I gonna go? Let's see. I'm gonna go to a black casino since we do have some black people in Canada. Am I go to a black casino or am I gonna go to Texas where they have alligators and guns and super religious people that think I'm going to hell for being gay and might do something to me? And they have obviously the death penalty in Texas. So I was actually more scared of Texas. I actually went to the black casino thinking I would be safe, thinking I would be accepted and welcomed. But no. So everything the Uber driver told me about that state, and I won't say which state it was, but everything the Uber driver told me, he warned me. He said, just so you know, you're from Canada, so obviously you don't know, but this state is heavily segregated. The blacks stay over here, the whites stay over here. That's just the way it is, he said. And I actually didn't agree with him. I said, no, that goes against my Canadian culture. In Canada, we have some every so often. We don't have a lot, but here and there we have a black person here or there in the workplace, and they have to be treated like that's Jim, that's Bob, that's Mary. There's no segregation. Sometimes we have to work with, there's no segregation. That's Jim, that's Bob, that's Mary. I couldn't even believe what the Uber driver was telling me that the state was heavily segregated and I should just better stay away. But he was right. And it's really sad. And that's really sad. And what's really sad is that the people who preach diversity, the people like Obama, who I thought would be like accepting of a gay white man from Canada, instead turn around and be the most. Now, I don't know for sure if that's true because I'll tell you what, after that casino experience, I haven't gone back to a casino in 8 years. That's how bad that 2 months experience was. That 2 months casino experience was so bad that I have never, ever gone back to a casino, not even one in Canada. 8 years. I have never, that's how bad. For 2 months, those people drove me crazy. I didn't want to go to Disneyland because, I didn't want to go to Disneyland. I didn't want to go golfing. I don't like to golf. I didn't want to go skydiving. I don't want to go to Mexico. I didn't want to go to Texas. I chose to go rent a summer villa, and just to be in the States in general was a big deal because I was in Canada my whole life. And when I crossed the border, I didn't want to go far. Like literally, I just literally crossed the border from Canada into the United States, and I was like, okay, I'm far enough. I didn't want to be too far from Canada. So I didn't like, that's why I didn't go to Texas. That's why I didn't go to Florida. That's why I didn't go to Mexico. So I didn't have to go. I didn't have to bring my money. And in fact, and now, and for 8 years, by the way, just so you know, because they're probably going to be people come in here and accuse me of being a liar. That's fine. You can call me a liar, but I'll tell you what, I have gone to every Canadian person for 8 years and I told them everything that happened. And I said, do not spend your money in the United States of America. Keep your money in Canada. Let's keep the money in the Canadian economy. So you want to call me a liar? When really what needed to be done was the security guards at the casino should have been like, oh my God, and actually did their jobs and everything would have been fine. Honestly, actually, if after the guy put the bag over my head and then the other one ran off after he cashed out my machine, if when I had turned around instead of the sister security guard saying haha white boy and just laughing, if she had actually been like, oh my God, and started running after those guys, I would have had mad respect for the casino. I would have been like, oh, okay, mad respect. And even if I never got the money back, even if I never got the money, and at least I saw the sister running after those guys like she was going to take them down, I would have had mad respect for the casino. But instead, I turn around and is she running after them? No, she's laughing at me and she says, haha, white boy. And she's laughing after she just saw one of them put a bag over my head. And then the other one cashed out my machine while there was a bag over my head and they both ran off and they were laughing. So that experience with casinos and was so bad. I have never gone back to a casino within 8 years. That's how bad that was. And I never liked casinos anyways. I never liked casinos. You know why? Because casinos, like I only went a couple times with my grandmother because my grandmother liked to go. Before my grandmother died of cancer, she liked to go to casinos sometimes. And one time we went to the casino as a family kind of thing, because my grandmother liked to go to casinos sometimes. So I went with my grandmother as like a family kind of thing. And I never liked casinos. And after my grandmother died, I was extremely depressed because my grandmother raised me to an extent because there was a period in my life when my mother like was working two jobs and she was never home. And so I was actually living with my grandmother at one point. I was living with my grandmother. My grandmother was raising me from like about 9 to 14 for 5 years. For 5 years, when I was 9 years old to 15, my mother was nowhere near. My mother was working two jobs. She was never home. And from 9 to 15, it was my grandmother that I was with from 9 to 15. So it was like my grandmother was really like a second mother to me. So when my grandmother died of cancer, I was extremely depressed. So not only like I was also depressed too, and so I was expecting, like I couldn't even believe how they was being treated. It was totally disgusting. So I couldn't even believe it. I have no reason to lie. And like I said too, I actually went there expecting to be treated better than I would be treated at in Texas, where they're probably very homophobic. They're very religious. They have guns. I've never seen a gun before. Most Canadians never seen a gun. So so now basically I never go on vacation anymore because like I'm scared of white people. I'm scared of everyone. I'm scared of everyone at this point. So I just realized that maybe it's me. Maybe it is me. Maybe people just don't like my voice. It is my voice. It sounds nasally. I've always been insecure about my voice. I've actually looked into getting surgery to have my voice changed to make it deeper to not sound feminine so I don't sound gay like so that people don't like the gay guy like harass the gay guy and then think it's funny and run off with my money. First Amendment, no, I was only there for 2 months. And you do not, all you need is your passport to go to the United States. Canadians do not need a visa. They need a visa now, but 8 years ago, Canadians did not need a visa to go to the United States. All they needed was their passport. And I was only there, like I said, for 2 months in the summertime. So no, I don't know what you're talking about, which by the way, Anyone who lives on the border between Canada and the United States, they constantly go back and forth between Canada and the United States. So I don't know why you come in here trying to say my story is fake. First off, I cannot handle not only being a victim, but then on top of it, trying to tell me my story is fake. Oh, you better believe it's real. Because I swear to what, I'll take a lie detector test on public. In fact, I want to go on one of those reality shows and I want to take a lie detector test. I want to go on Maury and I'll take a lie detector test. I'll take a lie detector test. That story's real. I was robbed right in the casino by people that I was expecting to be the most respectful of diversity. So, you come in here and you try to say, oh, something about visas and American visas. No, Canadians don't need an American visa. They might need an American visa if they're there for like a long period of time. Like I said, I only went for 2 months. I was a tourist. It was the summertime. I only went for July and August. I needed a vacation because I was very depressed because my grandmother had died of cancer. And I didn't want to go far. I didn't want to go like to Texas. So I literally just went like to the first state that bordered Canada. I went to the state, one of the states, I won't say which one, but I went to one of the states that borders Canada. And like as soon as I went into that state, I'm like, okay, I'm far enough. Because I'm not gonna go to Texas. I'm not gonna go to the southern states. I'm scared of guns. I've never seen a gun before. I'm not gonna go to the southern states. I went to one of the states that borders Canada. So, and I was only there for 2 months, and I just rented a place for 2 months. It was like a summer thing. It was a summer thing I saw for 2 months. A lot of times the summer stuff opens up, so I rented something for just July and August. I was in the States. I was experiencing the States for 2 months, and so and then now you're acting as if a person being robbed in one of those places like if it's people that haven't been robbed before. No, I've been robbed. I was robbed. So, like, I don't know, but anyways, the whole moral of the story was the Uber driver, was he right? Is segregation the only way to go? Tell me, what do you think? Because right now, we're starting to see it in Canada actually. There's gangs now. They're no longer Bob and Mary and Sue. Now they look at me like, "Oh, we're not going to let a white guy work with us." What? Yeah. Because when I went back to Canada, after I went back to Canada, I went into a college program. I went back for a year for a college program. And it was no longer, oh, they're just Bob or Mary or Sue. Now they're like, oh, yeah, they literally worked in groups. Like it was a group assignment in college. And now when I went back as a mature student, then they were suddenly like, I'm like, hey, can I work in your group? I need, they're like, no. And they even called me white guy, no white guy. Like there was a group of three guys, three brothers and one sister, and the group could have had 5 people. It was a 5 people max group, and it was three brothers, one sister. And I went to them and I said, "Can I work in your group assignment? I'm a good worker, whatever. I showed them my marks. I showed them my marks in school. I showed them my marks in class. I said, yeah, I'm a good worker. And they're like, no, white guy, we're good. We're good, white guy. No. I'm like, but it can be 5. It could be max 5. I said, the instructor said it's groups of 4 or 5, and you only have 4. So can I be your fifth member? They're like, no, white guy, we're good. So it's happening in Canada. Segregation is starting in Canada. So I'm asking a question. Is this the way it's gonna be from now on? Are we gonna be segregated? Is this the way it's gonna be? Because that's what the Uber driver said in the States. He warned me, and I didn't believe him at first because Canada, especially 10 years ago, Canada did not have any type of segregation. They were Bob, or that's Sue, or that's Mary, that's Vanessa, that's etc. Keisha, whatever. Vanessa, Sarah, Bob, Luann. These people were just, they were just everyday people. And now I'm seeing more segregation. I'm seeing more gangs. They walk around in groups. So the American Uber driver was right. I should have listened to him. I'm stupid for not listening to him. I really should have. I should have said, okay, not screw my Canadian culture, but I just was in shock. I couldn't believe what he was telling me, especially the United States in the year 2018, that like 2019, etc. What that. It was around the time of 2019. So, anyways, in the United States in around 2019, I couldn't believe that there would still be segregation, especially in a state where they preach diversity. And I expect Obama, like, hello, Obama was preaching diversity and everything. I was expecting a black casino to be the most. I was expecting black parties. I was expecting a black neighborhood to be the most accepting of diversity. But instead, they singled me out as this gay white guy from Canada, and they made my life hell for 2 months. And I even left early. I left a day early. I had rented the place for 2 months and I was so sick of it in the summertime that I could have stayed another day and I just left a day early. I couldn't handle it. I had enough. I'm like, I'm going back to Canada now. I couldn't even believe it. It wasn't like I was just one incident. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be like, oh, I had one bad incident, so I'm going to now No, it was 8 incidents where I was attacked. I was ridiculed. They threw garbage at me. They laughed at me. They stole my money. They sprayed a spray bottle with me. It was 8 incidents. So okay, I have like a street. I have a three strike rule. 3 strikes and I'm out. 3 strikes. Someone strikes me 3 times. Someone does something to me 3 times. I'm out. It's a 3 strike rule. I gave the United States. I gave the United States. I gave that summer villa. I gave it eight times. 8 times. I was something severely effed up was done to me. 8 times. And living in that neighborhood, in that diverse neighborhood, if you know what I mean. 8 times I was something was bad done to me, and I got out of there. I'm like, I'm going back to Canada. This is ridiculous. These people were preaching diversity. I was expecting I like to be like Obama. Like I was expecting like Obama preaches diversity. I was expecting these people to be like Obama, to be more accepting of a gay white guy from Canada, not less accepting. I was actually scared of going to Texas. Maybe I should have gone to Texas. Maybe Texas would have treated me with respect. Now I'm hearing different stories. Now I'm hearing people say, "Oh, Texas, they're Southerns and they're all about the law." I mean, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I mixed up the two. Maybe I shouldn't have been scared of Texas. Maybe Texas would have actually treated me with respect. So. I have no financial gain from this. I am not connected to my YouTube account isn't even monetized. I am not connected to a Cash App. There's no financial gain to this story. I am coming on here to have a serious discussion about segregation and if this is our new world. Is the next 20 years of our planet going to be segregation? In Canada and the United States. This is a discussion about segregation. So if anyone comes in here, it's so offensive. Not only was I a victim and I was extremely mistreated, I still have post-traumatic stress disorder over it. Not only was I a severe victim, but on the top of it, for people to come in and try to insinuate maybe my story is fake, there is no agenda here for it to be fake. I'm not trying to raise money on some Cash App. I'm not even naming the people publicly because I said I didn't name the state. I didn't name which state it was. I'm not trying to embarrass the state. I didn't name which state it was. And I didn't even name the casino. I didn't even name the name of the casino. And there's no lawsuit connected to this. These are real. I was really treated like garbage for 2 months. And it made me so like I never went back to the States and I never went back to a casino and I never went back to a diverse neighborhood ever again. That's how bad the experience was. So it's literally was so bad the experience that I'm talking about it 8 years later. That's how traumatic it was. It was so traumatic that I'm actually talking about it 8 years later. So what I'm more concerned about is the segregation that I'm starting to see in Canada. Is now Canada? Are we going to start being segregated in Canada? This is something that I have never experienced. Americans, you have experienced probably segregation, at least in one of the states. I know not all the states have segregation. Some of them do, some of them don't. But Canada, we are starting to see segregation happen up here. And I grew up 30 years ago, Canada, there was no segregation, Canada, 30 years ago. Because Canada, we were expected that they walk over and we have to treat them like they're equals. They're Bob, they're Mary, they're Sue, they're Bill. But a few years ago when I went back as a mature student in that graduate program, they didn't treat me like an equal. When I went over to the group assignment, and it could be a group of four or five, and they had a group of four, and they were brothers and sisters, and I went over them. You know what I mean by brothers and sisters? Like they were diverse. So I went over there and I said, "Hi, okay, can I be in your group? Like, I'm really good. I showed them my marks from one of my previous classes. I'm a good worker. Can I be in your group?" It said that the instructor said it could be a group of four or five, and they had four. So I said I could be your fifth member. And they turned around and they said to me, "Oh, we're good, white guy." No. And they called me white guy. Heck, they didn't even know I was homosexual. Imagine if they knew I was homosexual. They might have, like, but just for the fact I was just a white guy. They're like, "No, no, we're good, white guy." They didn't even know me from Adam. But people, typically in a college program, people are expected to at least be cordial. So even if you say no, you should just say no. You shouldn't say no white guy. Because like when they said no white guy, it made it very clear why I was denied from the group. Because I will admit that sometimes I've denied people as well. I have also denied people. If there's ever an opportunity to work alone, I will rather work alone than with someone. So there were a couple times when it was either you could work alone or with a partner. A couple people approached me. I said, no, if we have the option to work alone, I'm gonna work alone. But it's not that I was like, it's only because I like to work alone. I wasn't saying, oh, like, no, no, thank you, blonde woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was because I wanted to work alone. It had nothing to do with them as a person. Because I know typically I have experienced it from everyone. I've experienced it from all types of people, if you know what I mean. I've experienced lazy workers, people who don't work do their fair share on assignments. So if it's a group assignment and it has to be a group assignment, then I will be forced to work in a group. But if we're able to work alone, oh, I work alone, 100%. So this is a discussion about segregation. This is what this really discussion is. I am not here. I am not raising money. I'm not asking for money. My YouTube channel isn't even monetized. This is just a YouTube channel I do on the spare time. I actually have a job. I have a part-time job I work at. So and that's another thing too. I have not given any specific details. I have not identified the state. I have not identified anything specific because this was only meant as a discussion about segregation. I am not doing this as a way to try to make money or do fill up my Cash App or anything like that. So I can't like it's really offensive. Something really bad happens to someone, and then people try to come in and say, "Oh, your story might be fake." No, it's not fake. Especially America, who's had what, 40 years, 100 years of racism, and then you want to say that I didn't experience anti-white racism, that it's fake. Okay, sure. But then all these other stories are real, right? So wait, is it only because I'm white that my story must be fake because I'm white? I don't get it. But then all these other stories of racism in the United States, they're real. And on top of it, I'm from Canada, and you would obviously expect someone from Canada to have a different culture shock. It was a culture shock because Canada, we have never, 30 years ago when I was growing up, there was no segregation. Not whatsoever. We had to treat everyone who came forward. You were Bob, you were Mary, you were Sue, you were Bill. And now we're starting to see gangs form. Now there's gangs. So it's scary. I didn't walk up to hang out with a gang. They weren't a gang. I said they were a group of students at a graduate program. It was a graduate program at a college in Canada, and we had to be a group assignment. And it was four or five, and they already had four. I could have been their fifth member, and I went over. They were four diverse, if you know what I mean. Like so it was three brothers and a sister. Diverse, I know. I mean, you know what I mean. So, um, and they like, no, we're good, white guy. So I'm starting to see the segregation happen in Canada. So it wasn't a gang, but they acted like a gang. But they technically it was a gang of students, I guess, in a graduate program in Canada. I'm just starting now to respond back to comments because I was trying to explain the story and then I realized there's all these comments. I actually didn't think there was anyone. I thought there was only like 20 people. Then the next thing I know, there's like 300 people in this live. I'm like shocked. So now I have to scroll up the comments to. No, I never said black. So someone said, "Oh, you thought black folks love you?" No, I never expected them to love me. I expected them to treat me with respect and to not rob me and not steal from me. Uh, did I ever go like I didn't go to a community and walk out and say you must love me, you must know. I went there and I had okay, I have my money for the 2 months rent for the summer villa. I have my documents, I have my passport, I have my travel itinerary, the stuff I'm gonna do in for the 2 months. And I have these tourist places I'm going to visit, the parties I'm going to go to. I never went up to anyone. I expected to be treated like a human being and to not be robbed or hit or someone put a bag over my head like and steal my money and cash out my slot machine while they had a bag over my head. That's what I would just want to be treated with respect. In fact, when I was at the slot machine, I was enjoying the slot machine. It was fun. I don't normally play slot machines, so slot machines were very exotic to me. Slot machines were like very 8 years ago. 8 years ago, slot machines were like, oh my God, like I've never seen anything like this. I didn't know a slot machine was capable of like doing all of this interesting stuff and stuff flying out of the slot machine. I didn't know. So it's really like, I'm a bit slow, so it's kind of like entertaining for me. And I was just expecting to be left alone. I just wanted to be left alone. I wasn't expecting that when I finally won some of my money back, that one of the thugs, puts a bag over my head and then starts laughing. And then the other thug cashes out my machine and they go running. And then when I look back at the black security guards expecting them to do something, the black security guard, she just looks at me and laughs at me. She says, haha, white boy. So that experience, that 2 month experience was so bad. I will never, ever go back to United States. So you don't have to worry, United States. I'm this Canadian, never go back to United States. So you're good. You're good over there. You don't have to worry. And I will also, which by the way, I've never, ever gone back to a casino at all, even a casino in Canada. I have never gone back to a casino. I've never gone back to the United States. But what I'm starting to notice now, like I said, what I noticed the segregation start to happen at the college program, the graduate program, I'm starting to notice segregation in Canada. I'm starting to see gangs. We're starting to see neighborhoods of like segregated neighborhoods in Canada. Is this going to be our life in the next 20 years, segregation in Canada? Because I'm not used to segregation, and this is scary. This is really scary. It's a two-way street. Okay? There shouldn't be racism, and there also shouldn't be anti-white racism either. There should be no racism. It's a two-way street. And that's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. And also, especially when they single me out for they because they suspect that I'm gay, and they say, or they just they don't even know I'm gay, but they just say, oh no, we're good, white guy, we're good, like singling out me for being a white guy. Which, by the way, I work hard in group assignments. They missed out on having me. Those brothers and sisters missed out on having me as a group partner because I do really well. I contribute. I do really well in group assignments. I'm really good at research. I'm really good at research, and I'm really good at citing sources and all that stuff in research. And they missed out. And I showed them my marks from another class. Like they're like, "Oh, no, we're good. We're good, white guy. All right." I'm actually scared that there could be a war for real. So I saw a documentary of Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton was showing all of these clips of what it was like in the 1970s with segregation and Jim Crow and all of this stuff. It looked scary, like it looked like a scary time to walk down the street, right? It looked like a scary time to walk down the street when Hillary Clinton did that documentary. It's on Netflix. It's about Hillary. I mean, I didn't watch the documentary because I like Hillary Clinton. I watched the documentary because Donald Trump kept saying that she's a nasty woman, and I wanted to see what he was talking about. That's why I watched the documentary about Hillary Clinton, by the way. So people try to come in and assume things. Oh, you like Hillary Clinton? No. I watched the documentary on Netflix about Hillary Clinton because Trump kept saying how nasty of a woman Hillary Clinton is. And then there was also a big Russian hacking scandal, and I wanted to see what Hillary Clinton had to say. That's why I wanted to see like how nasty of a woman she really was. I want to see if Trump was what Trump was talking about. That's why I watched the documentary on Netflix. And Hillary Clinton in the documentary, it did flashbacks to 1970s or whatever, Jim Crow, which is all foreign to me because I'm from Canada and we never had that in Canada. We never had segregation in Canada. So now to see it start to come to Canada segregation, it's scary. Like it's almost as if Canada in 5 years is going to be like those flashbacks in the 1970s with Hillary Clinton, where she's showing how segregated it was and everything, and how they were fighting on the streets, like big groups of one side, and then the other side, and they're both throwing bottles at each other. Very scary. Be scary to walk down the street in Canada if segregation comes to Canada. I'm saying all racism is bad, including anti-white racism, because the anti-white racism is only going to fuel the other racism. So it all needs to stop. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? I'm not on any team. And my whole life, I have been abused because I'm a gay man. I have been abused by both sides. In fact, the whole reason I went to the black neighborhood and I moved in for 2 months is because I was abused my whole life by white people. So I was shocked. I was expecting the black neighborhood to be like Obama. Obama is a man. Obama is a tall man with a suit and a job, and he's humble and he has respect and he treats people with respect. I was expecting the black neighborhood to be like Obama, like a man, like like diverse and I was expecting to be welcomed and treated, well, not welcome, but just treated with respect, like treated like a human being, like not robbed. They're not gonna rob me. They're not gonna put a bag over my head. They're not gonna spray a spray bottle at me. Like no, like so I moved into that neighborhood for 2 months because I was actually sick of how white people treated me because I'm gay. So I'm not on any side because if you want to know the truth, I still, even though that experience in in that neighborhood was bad for 2 months, I have still been treated worse by the other side, by the white side. So I am not on any side. What I'm telling you is that if segregation becomes a thing again, this is going to be really scary. There could be a war break out. People don't even realize it. Just go look at that Hillary Clinton documentary on Netflix. Just go watch. Just or you could just search on YouTube segregation in the 1970s. Look how dangerous it was. It was a scary time to live. It would be scary to walk down the street. If you're white or black, it would be scary to walk down the street. And then imagine if you're gay. Oh, if you're gay, forget it. Don't even leave the house. I won't even leave the house. So, during segregation, I wouldn't even leave the house. Like I would be so scared to just leave the house. This is bizarre for Canada. This is the most bizarre segregation and all of this stuff that's coming from the United States. It is the most bizarre thing because in Canada 30 years ago, there was no segregation. There was none of this stuff. I am not on either side. I'm not on the white side. I'm not on the other side. I'm not on either side. Okay. I'm telling you that I am worried that with segregation that there could be a major war breakout. That's what I'm worried about. Even a civil war, even involving Canada and the United States. That's what I'm worried about. That is a serious issue. And if like in that Hillary Clinton documentary when they flash back to 1970s, like if that starts to happen in Canada, and it might happen in Canada for real because they're they're everywhere now. You know what I mean? Like they're everywhere. Canada, 30 years ago, like I said, Bob. Every so often we had a Bob or a Mary or a Sue or a Sasha, whatever their name is. We ever had a person, and they were just treated like, oh, that's Mary, that's Bob. There was no segregation. That's Sue. Now there's gangs of them all over Canada. Like they're working. They work as gangs. Like so. And I don't just mean, I also mean all types of gangs because I've also seen white Irish Catholic gangs, which are probably the worst. I'm actually more, just so you know, I'm actually more scared of the white Irish Catholic gangs, especially the really homophobic ones. Because one time I was at a bus stop and this guy, I swear to God, he looked at me and he had like piercings and then uh he like was like he had like a really Irish accent, like very Irish, and he like looked like from World War II. He looked like a skinhead from World War II, I swear. And but he wasn't German, he was Irish. He was Irish Catholic who looked like a skinhead from World War II, I swear. And he looked at me like if this was a dark alley and it wasn't in public right now, like he would make me disappear. That's the way he looked at me. I was scared. So I'm actually more scared of the Irish Catholic gangs, if you want to know the truth. And there are a lot of them in Canada right now. They look like skinheads, literally. They dress like skinheads. I swear, one time I could swear I saw even, one of the symbol, that whole thing that Elon Musk did, that salute. I've seen Canadians start doing it. I swear. I swear to God. I've seen it. I've seen Canadians do that the saluting thingy. I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was a joke, but I was on the bus one time, the city bus, and I saw this guy doing that saluting thingy. And I'm not sure if he was just mocking Elon Musk or if he was on board with Elon Musk, but so Canada is changing. It's starting to change. I'm scared of both sides, especially being a gay white man, Canadian gay white man. I'm scared of all sides. If there's a segregation and there's a war and a segregation war, I'm not even gonna leave the house. I'm gonna I'll quit my job. I'll quit my job at the bookstore. I don't care. I have enough in savings to last for a little bit. I'll quit my job in the bookstore and I just won't leave the house. If there's a war or if anything like COVID again happens, with COVID was scary. People waiting in lines and wearing masks. That's another reason to not want to leave the house during COVID. People wearing masks, waiting in lines. But if there's like a segregation war, there's like a war of segregation, you know what I mean? If there's like some kind of Nazis thing going on again with Elon Musk and the Nazi salute, I don't care. I'll quit my job and I'll just stay home for a while because I have enough money in savings to last me about a year or so. And I probably could always get another job at another bookstore, even if the other bookstore doesn't give me my job back. So, but it's funny because this topic, no, it's not funny, but you know what I mean? This topic actually is, I don't even like talking about this topic to the point where when I'm at working at the bookstore, when people come, like there's a section We have a book section that has the book talks about racism and sociology and all that stuff, and Martin Luther King. And I never pretend to be an expert on that book section. So if someone's looking for a book or needs a book recommendation, you'll never see me going to that section because I know nothing, especially from Canada. And I never grew up in segregation. I never really experienced segregation. I'm from Canada. Like that whole book section about racism and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. I really that's a subject area that I just not an expert on. So, I mean, it's fine if people want to go read them, but I'm an expert on science. I'm an expert on math. So I'm gonna recommend the science books, right? Science fiction, even. And to answer Oakview, this a guy named Oakview came in. I will never, ever, ever go to any casino, no matter who it's run by. No, I'll never go back to a casino. Never. After the experience that I had, never. In fact, if I'm probably won't go on vacation, but if I do go on vacation, I will go probably. I've always wanted to visit like a really nice big library in another country. So I speak fluent Russian. I would love to go to Russia. I would love to go to Moscow, Russia. I'd love to visit their libraries, read their books in the Russian libraries. That's where I would go for vacation. I'll never, ever, ever go back to any casino, no matter who it's run by. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I want to go to Russia. I want to go to Moscow. I've never been to Russia. And I would love to see a Russian library, like a really big Russian library, and go through because I can read Russian, and I've been reading more and more Russian books lately. I love to visit a nice Russian library, like the Russian library in Moscow, and that would be really cool. Because I like to read, and I like start to read more and more in Russian. So but I like reading novels because You could like go on an adventure from your living room. You don't have to leave your house to go on an adventure. You could read a novel and just, so that's why I like reading novels. Wow, it says there's a lot of people in the, I've never had this many people in a live stream. I honestly wasn't expecting this live stream to be so big. And I was gonna end the live stream about 20 minutes ago. I want to because I was expecting it not to be that big. And there was like it says there's like 400 people in this stream watching right now. No, now it's 261, but it just said 350. Then it said one point it said 400, then 350, then now 261. So I guess I'll have to talk because I don't want to end the live stream when there's so many people watching. That's a shame. That's a shame. So in Canada, we have a new kind of like a new prime minister, and this guy, he I mean I'm not. There's a difference between calling someone a creep and saying that they give off like a creepy vibe. I would say he's actually seems more down to earth than Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau, like I couldn't handle watching Justin Trudeau's speeches. Like it was so they were so pretentious. Like I'm Justin Trudeau and I am uh better than you. So this new guy whose name is Mark Carney, who is the new prime minister, he actually seems more like a guy, like a down to earth. Like he sits normal. He sits like a guy. He doesn't sit like Justin Trudeau sat. Like it was so creepy and weird how Justin Trudeau sat. Um, but I guess what creeps me out about this new guy is the fact he's from the same party. So he's like friends with Justin Trudeau. He knows Justin Trudeau. That's really the only reason why it creeps me out. It's really the fact that his association to Justin Trudeau is what creeps me out. Because I figure he must be hiding something. He must be as corrupt as Trudeau's is corrupt. So that's why this new guy, Mark Carney, that's the only reason why I'm a little creeped out. Just for the fact he's on the same team as Justin Trudeau, and Justin Trudeau is really creepy. So, but Mark Carney, we don't know what's gonna happen now because Mark Carney, he he's becoming extremely divisive in Canada because people were already divisive over the Make Canada the 51st state thing, right? Between the United States and Canada, make Canada the 51st state. People were already divided over that. And now Mark Carney, he is not doing anything to uh, diminish the division. If anything, he's making the division worse because he's not addressing the issue. He's not addressing the issue with Trump and Canada and the taxes and the tariffs. He's like playing both sides, which playing both sides sometimes does work. But in this case, I really think he needs to actually just pick a side and just go with it because right now, both sides are becoming frustrated, not knowing what's going to happen. So, and Mark Carney, especially after COVID and what Justin Trudeau did to the economy, Mark Carney is he's not he's not going to be liked necessarily because especially with his association with Justin Trudeau and coming from the same party. So I mean, there might still be like a riot to be honest, just because Justin Trudeau is out of office. I mean, for the fact that this guy is still from the same party, he knows Justin Trudeau, he's friends with Justin Trudeau. I mean, it's pretty much like almost like having Justin Trudeau. It's like, oh, hey, guys, we don't have Justin Trudeau no. Hey, everyone, we don't have Justin Trudeau no more. We just have his best friend. Is that better? Is having Justin Trudeau's best friend better than not having Justin Trudeau? We just have like his like major business partner. So it's like Justin Trudeau resigned because he didn't want Canada to break out in civil war. What? What? So you just put your best friend in your place, like as if that's gonna change everything, make everything better? So that's why in Canada right now, all of the people who are anti-Trudeau, they might still protest. There might be a big anti-Mark Carney, anti-Trudeau, anti the whole Liberal government protest, really. It's like it's as if did he really think that was gonna fool us? Oh, okay, we don't like Justin Trudeau. He's gonna resign because everyone hates his guts, and then he's just gonna put in place. He's just gonna put in place his best friend, Mark Carney. Was that supposed to was to fool us into thinking that everything's different now? Justin Trudeau, that now that you resign, now you just put your best friend in your place. Is that is Canada suddenly different? Did everything become better now because you put your best friend in the place of you, Justin Trudeau? All right, so now that the room is still packed full of people, I'm definitely not going to end the live stream on a packed room. So let me talk about the meme that is actually. Okay, I did a discussion about segregation and the what past, future, all the worries about segregation. Um, I defended myself a bit, and then I talked about Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau in Canada. So now let's talk about the meme that's in front of there. So I'm gonna read it. A woman called the police on a suspicious-looking man. Meanwhile, Legally Blonde attorney Pam Bondi had a whole Epstein list on her desk, but she told the reporter that they were waiting to be reviewed. Pam Bondi was probably busy getting her nails done. Maybe it's better I not talk because I just noticed as soon as I start talking, it went from 300 to 200 in the. Anyway. Hey Pam Bondi, you know what's pretty suspicious? A bunch of rich white guys getting on a plane and going to Epstein Island a bunch of times. That's very suspicious. If you're gonna call the cops on someone for being suspicious, and listen, I'm not saying that you called the cops on the guy in the picture. That's not what it says. It says that a woman. And this happen. What I'm saying is happens, and generally speaking, there has been women who have called the cops because there was a suspicious looking man. It didn't say, by the way, to make it clear And it says it very clearly. It says a woman called the police on a suspicious looking man. It doesn't say Pam Bondi called the police on a suspicious looking man, although she may have actually. Um, so, but hey, Pam Bondi, you know what it is? So I'm just saying that that's what happens in general. In general, women have called the police on a suspicious looking man. But you know what? You know what Pam Bondi is really suspicious, Pam Bondi? A bunch of rich old white men getting on a plane, a private jet, and going to Epstein Island a bunch of times. That's suspicious. If you're gonna call the cops on anyone for being suspicious, that's suspicious. So the comments stopped. I don't know why the comments stopped, but anyways, it still says we have 320 people watching, 359 likes. So there's people in here, but there's no more people comment. I can't see any more comments. So, like I see the comments, but I don't see anyone making any new comments. So if anyone's in here, uh, please make a comment because someone came in the other day and was trying to confuse me and saying, "Oh, there's some kind of glitch going on where everyone thinks they have people, but there's no people in your room." Really? Like no people in the live stream? Really? So if there's anyone in the live stream, could you please make a comment, say something, because I want to know if there really is 285 people in here right now watching, or if it's or if the other guy the other day was right and he said, "Oh, it's like some kind of glitch or something." You think people are in the live stream, but there's no one there. Obviously, there were here people here before. I see all these comments, so. Hello, okay. I need to clarify something. Oh man, he's gone now probably, but it's so hard to read the comments and talk at the same time. So there were so many comments. I'm now going through the comments. I have to correct something someone said. So this is something said by First Amendment USA. I was on vacation in the United States, but I was also working on research. I wasn't officially, it was my time off. It was my summer vacation. I was technically on vacation, but I'm a researcher. I do research and I write novels and I do work like that kind of work. So I was for 2 months officially not on a payroll, but when I said that I was going to leave the casino to go home early to do some work, I'm at work on my research, the research stuff that I'm always doing research. Well, I love doing research, whether I'm on vacation, whether I'm not on vacation. I'm always doing research. I'm always reading books. I'm always reading novels. I'm always doing research. So that's what I meant when I said I was going to leave the casino early to go home to do work. I never said that I was on a work visa. So you're trying now to say, oh, now you're saying that that you're trying to say that I said that I was on a tourist visa and a work visa. No, 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 no. First off, Canadians don't need a tourist visa. I was there legally. All you Canadians, 8 years ago, 8 years ago, all Canadians needed was a passport. This was before COVID, okay? All Canadians needed was a passport. I was there legally for 2 months, and I was I was on vacation, but even when I go on vacation, I still work. Like I still do research, I read novels, I still think about ideas for marketing projects because I have a degree in marketing. So I'm not like you're trying now to say, oh, that I was no, I never said I was on a work visa. No, that's not what I was saying. I said that I was leaving the casino to go home early to work because I had to work because I had to work on my research because research is and writing a novel and stuff like that, that kind of work, like I never stop working. I'm always working. Even on my days off, I'm working, researching, because this is what I do for, like, I like researching, I like writing novels for fun. I like writing novels, I like researching, I love, so that's, it's work, but still, it's fun to me, for me. And I do that stuff on vacation as well. So, no, I wasn't on a work visa. I never said I was on a work visa. I was in the United States as a tourist legally for 2 months. And 8 years ago, all you needed to be a tourist was a passport. So, I hope that clears that up.